What's up, Star Wars fam? We have another great week of Star Wars news. We're so close to Rise of Skywalker. There's a lot of drama going on with all the interviews happening between the cast, so we're going to break it all down. And we also have Daniel Roebeck in studio, which is so exciting. Stay tuned for an epic episode.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk. We talk movies.
Welcome back. And now we have a third person on the panel. We are so excited. Before we introduce anything, I want to get straight to it. Daniel Roebuck, he has one of the most extensive IMDb's in history. And he's also a voiceover in Fallen Order.
Jedi Fallen Order,
the new game. So, Daniel, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much. I love that music. If we can always have that music play under any introduction of me. Thank you.
Daniel Roebuck!
A long time ago.
It makes, really what, but let me show you. Look how great it works. If I start saying, when I took out the garbage today, I noticed that you could use it for anything. It makes everything heroic.
Anything. All right, you guys, as you can see, we're going to have such a good episode already. I'm Steph, Sabraw, Chewbacca's long-lost daughter. I've been found at Star Wars News.
She's here.
And I'm so excited to be joined again by my co-pilot, Ryan Nilsson.
Thank you so much. We got 3 co-pilots on the table today.
I'm actually a pilot.
A pilot,
he is a real pilot.
Head of Popcorn Talk pilot.
I'll be in the chat, y'all. Please throw out all your comments for the stories today, as well as any questions for Daniel. So excited to be talking Star Wars news with someone in the Star Wars universe.
Well, thank you.
So I just want to give you all at home a quick rundown of what we'll be covering today. We have one of the interviews regarding the drama that you guys have been seeing trending on Twitter nonstop is J.J. Abrams and whether or not he criticized The Last Jedi and Rian Johnson. So that is one major story. And we also have that with Boyega as well. He's in the mix with that. And in the mix with a few things, not only the film before, but also with his co-star. So regarding social media drama.
There's been all this question of shade. First off, Rise of Skywalker, we're a week out. We're a week out from episode 9.
And nothing else matters.
So exciting. Nothing really else matters at all. The past month and a half has been so much Star Wars, and I feel like we're hitting that pinnacle next week. So the hype is real, but there's been so much shade. Yeah. Potential shade on social media about the predecessor, The Last Jedi, which I'm rocking on my shirt today, because I am a Last Jedi defender. So, there have been a ton of quotes that people are throwing around social media. Did JJ criticize The Last Jedi?
There's no more trailers, so people are pulling quotes with no context in these interviews and just shading the hell out of people. So we're gonna really see what we think about the quotes, and we'll give you guys the context behind that. And then we also have this really funny clip of Adam Driver just totally forgetting The Last Jedi, the title of the movie. Which is so funny. Sometimes we all fall guilty of forgetting a title of one of the episodes.
We all have a brain fart.
Yeah.
Well, I want to be like, if you're a parent, you daily forget the name of your children. You're like, you, the tall one. What? Yeah, whatever. Get over here and let's not be so harsh on the guy.
Especially when there's similar titles. You got Return of the Jedi, The Last Jedi.
Yeah, you never... Jedi,
Revenge.
That's
Jedi
Jeff Graham
goes
in
to
the
Monte
booth.
Carlo.
Yes, I have a question on that too, Daniel. I'm a big fan of you as well. This is producer in the booth, Jeff hopping in.
He knows everything
except
about
for Star Wars. Yes. But you have such an extensive IMDb. Does it ever happen with you that people come up to you and mention a project you're in and say, I believe you that I was in that and I don't remember that?
I can tell you what happened this week. Someone put a picture of something. I said, I have no idea what it's from. And they were like, come on. And I said, no, I have no idea what that's from. A picture online. And they said, it's The Donor. And I was like, I'm not in a movie called The Donor. Well, then I've got to figure it out, and it's somebody changed the name of the movie at some point.
Oh, okay.
I was in another movie, but I was looking at it thinking, I have, that's me.
I don't know this man.
Idea what that, like I couldn't put it in context. So anyway, yes, it does happen. So don't be hard on Adam.
It's funny.
He's got the dark side, the light side.
Yeah, he's confused.
There's a lot going on in that poor kid's head.
Yeah, he's confused. And then we also have a really cool article it leads to a cool article. It was announced that George Lucas actually cut out arguably the best lightsaber fight in the franchise. So we will show that clip, and then then also a really interesting article from Washington Post that ranks all of the lightsaber battles.
Yeah.
And it is so well done. We will make sure to show you what the website looks like. And then we're just going to focus on Daniel because there's so much to focus on.
My goodness.
Just Fallen Order, the new game, and everything about his character. We're really excited to talk
Daniel,
about
I
it.
do want to ask before we jump right in, what is your relationship to Star Wars other than now being a part of the
I'm a
franchise?
fan. No, I'm definitely a fan. I grew up in 1977. That movie, I was 13.
Wow.
No offense to the rest of the world, but it was made for me.
Yeah.
And
You saw it in
only me.
theaters.
Yeah, I let the rest of you see it. So back off, shaders. You should be grateful that I allowed other people to see it. But I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I love it. My wife, Tammy, I met this girl 7 years ago, and she had Star Wars posters on the wall of her office, and I thought, well, if you're gonna like go after a girl, that's a good girl to go
Yeah.
after.
That's a pretty good one.
But so now she's married to a guy in Star Wars. So I don't know. Everything worked out for her, that's for sure.
What about for you,
Yeah,
Daniel?
me. No, I'm happy. No, I'm happy too. But yeah, so I'm a fan of it all and a watcher of it all and appreciator of it all.
Oh, I love that.
Big fan.
It's going to be a better interview than we expected.
Yeah, I mean, it's that perspective of just growing up and seeing how the franchise has evolved. I mean, you've got to see the highs and lows, and now we're at this new point, which not many of us thought we'd ever be at after Disney got the franchise. So,
Right, and Disney. Look, and what Disney's done with it is extraordinary. And I mean, our game, was made by EA and Respawn, but it's under the Disney umbrella. And for a guy like me watching Star Wars, imagine that as a child, I didn't realize that I could be in the Skywalker story. I'm in the Skywalker story because we're in the canon of the Skywalker story. So it blows me away. I'm a very lucky person. My friend Dwayne Whitaker, every time I tell him some great thing happened to me, he says, Vlad the Impaler himself must have put you on the stake in your previous life. And you hung there for 4 days dying because he goes, why do you get everything?
Yeah, I mean, just take a look at his IMDb. You do.
the force is strong with IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah, the force is
Yeah,
strong.
and just quick note, you do play a gambler, Greez Dritus, for those of you listening to us, and you might find his voice familiar from the game.
Yeah, if you watch Greez, I'm Greez. Sure, of course I am.
Love it.
And we'll interview Greez later.
Yeah. Okay, let's hop into J.J. Abrams. So obviously, The Last Jedi is one of the most controversial
I
topics.
thought everyone liked it.
I mean, who knows?
Okay.
Who knows at this point? There are haters of this film, and we've discussed this in length, but it's interesting because for the most part, JJ and the entire cast and crew has been really respectful of Rian Johnson's work and the film itself and hasn't really said too much. But in a recent interview, JJ Abrams kind of let's take a look at this quote and then let me know what you two think about it. He said that it's great in that it's full of surprises and subversion and all sorts of bold choices. On the other hand, it's a bit of a meta approach to the story. I don't think that people go to Star Wars to be told this doesn't matter.
Right.
Ryan, initial thoughts.
Initial thoughts, it's a political statement. And it's funny, it's like when you talk about Star Wars, it's like talking about politics and that, you don't know where everyone stands, but there's some very extreme views on each side. I think it's funny just to see how JJ has talked about The Last Jedi in general. I know before Last Jedi even came out, he came out and said he was making it, he loved the script, and then after it came out, he wasn't even supposed to do episode 9, and he got brought back on. And just this week, we're a week out, and now in these interviews, he's doing press, he mentioned something like this. I think it was a safe way for him to be a little critical or just say how his film, episode 9 and 7, are going to differ from Rian Johnson's on a directing level. I think people took these comments as him throwing shade, like this movie wasn't good, which I don't think he's saying that. I think he's saying the style of episode 8 is different from his style, but that there were story elements he really admired and is going to build off of in 9. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how much he does end up building off because of what some other members of the film said about it.
Yeah. Daniel, what was your opinion of The Last Jedi and this quote in particular?
I may not embrace it as much as Ryan does, but I remember, it's hard for people to remember, when in the first trilogy, the last movie came out, and we were like, are those teddy bears? Is that a teddy bear?
Yeah, the
Is that
Ewoks.
a planet of teddy bears?
Right.
This is what?
They took the Empire out.
Yeah, and everybody said they turned it into a toy. And I think, this is a problem with media now. Everything becomes... they're trying to make everything mean everything else. Star Wars doesn't need to mean anything else. All it has to do is mean what Star Wars means. You see that Joker movie, and all of a sudden Bruce Wayne, I know I'm off topic, but I'll come back. Bruce Wayne's father, Thomas Wayne, who, mythologically has always been the greatest human being in the planet. He's now Donald Trump. Right, you know what I mean? So now we've got it. It's like, no, why does it have to mean what you want it to mean? Like,
just let the art exist.
Let the art exist. So what I think about this quote is J.J. Abrams is a genius.
Yes.
Let's not mince words.
And you've worked with J.J.
Well, I've worked under his auspices, but not directly with him. So I don't want to pretend that he was there on the set with me. If he was,
to my loss, of course,
I would have been fired. But he's truly a genius. So he might just be kind of getting people ready for a slam bang finish.
Yeah,
that's what I think is happening here.
Yeah,
I think he's like, if you thought that took a little too much time and meandered, I'm telling you, this is what I think he's saying, that you
in for
strap yourself in because I'm going to knock your socks off.
Grab some seat.
I'm with you both. I think in this next quote that I'm going to read from John Boyega, I have a similar feeling about both of their quotes. I think that it's what we're doing is pulling quotes without context and not giving them credit. And also that they deserve to brag about their art now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're shading the past, but they're really excited about this film. So why can't they just compliment it the way that they feel like it without having to drag another?
And you guys have to understand, and we'll say this with the Adam Driver comment too, Adam Driver's promoting 3 movies right now.
Yeah,
so I can tell you I can tell you what really happened was he forgot probably what are we like for a moment, because he came out of another.
He's overwhelmed.
Right. So what I want to say about J.J. Abrams is imagine if every single word you said, somebody was like, oh, I caught every single word you said. And you're like, I didn't mean all those words, or some of those words came out quickly. So let's not overthink it. I think let's not overthink it. Let's just we're a week away. You're right. Let's just not worry about it.
Yeah, agreed. So on John Boyega's quote, he was asked kind of a similar question, and he was quoted saying, "The Force Awakens, I think, was the beginning of something quite solid. The Last Jedi, if I'm being honest, I'd say that was feeling a bit iffy to me." And this was in an interview with Hypebeast. He said, "I didn't necessarily agree with a lot of the choices in that, and that's something that I spoke to Mark a lot about. And we had a conversation about it, and it was hard for all of us because we were separated." I think in a similar fashion that, yes, this was more apparently shady, but what he's talking about isn't incorrect. He's talking about the relationships that we love in Star Wars. So he's relating it back to the original where we got Han, Leia, and Luke, and that friendship bonded and sprouted and was the cornerstone of the movies. And then they thought they would get the same with Rey, and Poe and Finn, and it wasn't in The Last Jedi. So I hear him out on that.
Fair critique.
He was separate. They were separated in the story.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a total. I think it's a complete fair critique on his part. I think it's a little eye-opening. I don't know if your PR would be thrilled him saying that because this movie hasn't come out yet. But, I mean, he's right. Even I love The Last Jedi. And if you talk to anyone else who probably loves it, their major critique is everything on that Canto Bight planet that involved that involved Finn and Rose. His character didn't get a lot in this movie. We learned a ton about him.
That may be what he's actor.
I think he's saying
actor to actor. He may just be saying, I didn't like my part in that. But I like my part in this next one.
Yeah.
So he might. I think that's a fair thing for him to say. Maybe the wording could have been better, but I think it's a fair critique. I love the movie, and I completely agree. We did not learn much about Finn at all in Last Jedi.
Yeah.
He was just put in another scenario.
We talked about it last time. We learned more about Finn in the opening scene of The Force Awakens than we did in the entire Last Jedi.
So fair.
But From a PR perspective, I'm coaching my client not to speak on things like that.
Yeah, I think that is some Jedi training.
Well, but it's like, just in life, if you were just like, if we all got up tomorrow, everyone listening to this program, and said, I'm going to remove every negative comment from every conversation I have. And I'm just going to concentrate on being positive and finding something positive to say about every situation I'm in, the world would, be a little better.
Yeah.
So
Be a
let's
little
try
better.
it.
I just also think, you're a week out, man.
Chill.
Just chill.
This next story comes from John Boyega as well, and I adore him, and I think his off-screen personality is just so fun, and I love all his interviews, but he is really rambunctious, so I knew this was going to happen with him, that when you're a talker, you get in trouble, because that's just what happens. Yeah. He, in another interview, was asked about the fandom, because obviously there's a lot of controversy. We make controversy about which relationship should be shipped and what should happen, and he says that it's the most stupid thing in the world. Daniel, what do you think about the fandom and shipping people into love lines and
I don't. I happily I have no idea what you're talking about. So I'm officially 56, but listen, the people who make the product, they appreciate that there are fans, but their art is to create their goal is to create the best art they can. Nobody, and I mean nobody, sets out to make a bad movie.
Right.
No matter what anybody, they were making a bad movie on purpose. Never happens, never ever. So everyone's doing their best 100% of the time, and if it lands, it lands, and if it doesn't land, it doesn't land. But as a fan myself, I'd like to just see where they take the story. I think this is a modern. Can I tell you guys? This is a modern ideology that you, the fan, get to dictate what the story is.
Yeah.
No, you've got one job: be a fan of the story. But dictate. If you don't like it, don't watch it. But don't shade it. Don't smear it because you don't like it.
I think it's probably one of, if not the biggest franchise in the world right now with Star Wars. There's such a huge fandom in history, and we do live in a culture where a movie like Sonic the Hedgehog comes out and people don't like how it looks, and they get a redesign. Like the fans dictate.
That one was deserved.
That one was deserved. And so I think that's an example of the fans' feedback, being really positive and even helping it, because now people are embracing it. I think when it comes to like the story, and this is a story that it's a trilogy. We need to see where it's going, and people might be making some early judgments. But I mean, Star Wars fans have also been pretty burned. They've gotten, a lot of people aren't big fans of the prequels, and so I think that is the reasoning behind just these extreme fandoms. I just think it's important to remember that not the majority of the fandom is that negative.
But believe me, when George Lucas was making those prequels, he was trying to make the best movie he
Absolutely.
could. I've make a lot of jokes about those prequels, but everybody there was working hard. Come on, give me a break. Yeah. You know what I mean? And regardless of that, he was trying to live up to the other movies. He was also trying to create a technical. He was working in a technical field that no one had ever worked in before at the level he was doing it. So trying to figure out all that digital media and everything. I mean, look at them now. They're way ahead of their time, and it's thanks to him that stuff was figured out.
Yeah,
Completely.
I mean, they're still great. I love those movies. So, and there's a lot of people who do love them. They're not perfect, but no movie really is.
He's the reason we're here.
Yeah.
He's the reason we're here.
And speaking of digital, I am curious your quick opinions on this. There was another John Boyega story where he made a comment about if you can't stand the social criticism, then I don't know what to tell you. It is what it is, essentially. Like, get over it. And people instantly were like, this is shade at Kelly Marie Tran because she left social media, because all you haters out there, and I hate you for hating her because I love her so much, dragged her. They dragged her.
It was really ugly side of the fandom.
It was really, really ugly. And I hear him, because I'm the same way, where we can't be in this industry if we can't take heat, because that's what trolls do. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's not for people. She's still creating art, and actors don't necessarily need to be like socially active on platforms.
But she's trying to grow her following. I mean, what happened to Kelly Marie Tran was horrible. Like that was just one of the ugliest.
What happened to this?
So she played Rose in The Last Jedi, and after the film, people were just bombarding her on social media, Instagram, Twitter, just basically criticizing her
acting.
Everything about
her
the character,
her off camera, her on camera. Like, they were nasty
nonsensical
to her.
stuff.
Yeah,
and she left social media.
She's an actor, for gosh sakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You know how hard it is to navigate these waters. Just navigate the waters of getting any job. And now you've got a Star Wars job, and now look, they did it to Hayden Christensen. They and they did it to the poor kid who played Superman in that Superman Returns. Not a good movie, but the
Brandon
guy,
Routh, yeah.
Brandon Routh, he was great.
I loved him.
And when people were like, I thought this guy is giving us exactly what we wanted.
He just played him again last night on Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, but it's funny because even in that time period, social media isn't even as big as it is now.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine what it was like for her to receive all that. But
that's terrible.
Yeah, people thought that Boyega was almost referring to her. I think he just.
I don't think he was at all, which is so,
They're
it's
great
so
friends.
hard.
Like, you can tell in the press interviews, like they all enjoy each other's company.
Yeah, I think that was just him being like, I don't care what you guys say about me. I'm going to do me, which I respect.
Well, he's him.
Yeah.
Listen, on Lost, speaking of J.J. Abrams and me.
Here we go.
I played a character, Dr. Arst, right?
Hold on, wait, Jeff, pull up the GIF because there's a GIF on your character of Lost. I realized this driving home last night. I was like, Daniel's in a GIF I send my friends all the time.
Funny.
This one right here, your character from Lost with dynamite.
What
I think it's
happened?
the finale of season 1. I don't know if you can play it, Jeff.
Oh.
Just the explosion.
Yeah.
Is incredible. But sorry to interrupt.
No, but so I played, so that's exactly what I'm talking about. So everybody, that was the beginning of the social media interaction with the show, with a show. Like, it was so big, right?
Right.
And people, they were like, how come Hurley's heavy? Why is he, fat? And everybody, he's, they're on an island starving. Why are they the only people who go on the missions? Why do they have the nice houses and everybody walks around in sticks? And so they had my character say all those things on the TV show. And then they did that to me.
They blew them up.
So that was J.J. Abrams, their genius point. I'm sure it was more Carlton Cuse and Damon. Yeah. Like, let's tell people what we really think of their opinions. Like, they brought me on to kill me because...
As an example for the opinions.
Yeah, as
wow.
like, here's what we think of your opinion. Bagoosh.
That is so
anyway,
interesting.
Have your opinions.
Insider's look.
Wow.
Have your opinions about any kind of art or fandom. But understand that your opinion, until you are funding anything, then you can't really dictate content. You want to, I'm a filmmaker. I want to make a movie that says what I want it to say. I found the money. I begged, borrowed, and stole, and I made the movie myself. And so I didn't criticize somebody else's movie. I made my own.
That was in Pennsylvania, correct?
In Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
I think it's totally that. You can absolutely have your opinion. They want you to have opinions and to form discussions around it, but don't actually get offended and angry at the people creating things for you.
Especially when the story isn't over yet. Like,
and don't go after the act. For gosh sakes, the actors. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Do you think anybody says respectfully to Boyega or any of them? No one says, "How do you want this character to be played?" They don't care.
Yeah,
they're happy to be there.
Yeah, no, but beyond that, it's not. You can't even pretend that you get to impose. Like. Did I say I think Greez Dritus would do this? No, they told me what he would do. It was in the script, and I did what they said. Like, it's not my job, or can't even pretend that I had an opinion.
You can say, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so
no, it's a great point. It's you're targeting the wrong people, and you shouldn't really be targeting in the first place.
Don't target. I mean, just enjoy it. God.
Enjoy it.
Something that we did enjoy, and Daniel spoke on this earlier, was this clip. And Jeff, if you can pull this up from Twitter, of Adam Driver forgetting the title of The Last Jedi.
We gotta play this. This is pretty funny. It's went viral this week, by the way. Whenever you're ready, Jeff. Just Adam Driver in a press interview referencing...
it affected everything that we did in The Force Awakens, everything that we did in the second one.
No, dude, look, That's what is Adam Driver? 30? This is
Probably
completely
late
normal.
30s. Yeah, it's
This
just
is
a brain
completely
fart,
normal.
but everyone's dragging him online like, dude, he forgot that. It's guys, he's got 3 movies he's promoting.
He's got 3 movies, and he was in that moment. He thought, "Oh, I like that scene that I did in the other," and now I can't remember the scene in the next one.
And
That did
so
everything that we did
confusing.
in The Force Awakens, everything that we did in in the second.
It wouldn't be as funny, by the way, if he remembered the second one and not the first one.
That would have
It
been.
wouldn't have been funny.
Yeah.
But he was probably sitting there thinking, "Let me ask you a question. Why did Snark? What was his name? Snoke. Why did Snoke? Why? At the end of the Snoke battle and the curtains are burning and they're
Right.
falling. Why did he need to have big curtains? I'm just
Maybe because of
asking.
the
You know
big
what I mean?
windows.
Like maybe he was just thinking, well, why do we? He's like thinking, and he's like started thinking
There's
about
a million
those
things.
curtains and thinking, why would the guy why would he need curtains?
There's a ton in your head.
Regardless, Adam Driver is booked and busy, so I don't judge him for
Yeah.
this at all. Because man is getting billed.
It really is. Definitely one of the best actors working today.
Agreed.
And I can't wait to see how
One
they
of
wrap
the
his
2
character.
best.
One of the 2
He's
best.
doing a really smart job of not getting sucked into the franchises, which we see all the time with Harry Potter, Twilight, everything. Oftentimes, these actors get so typecasted into the roles that they played in these mega franchises. So I think he's done a brilliant job of working his butt off to be in a bunch of different films and getting recognized in so many different characters.
Yeah, I'm sure he was like, I'll put on the mask, but get me something where I wear a suit and tie.
He's like, make me in the most depressing story of the year, Marriage Story.
Oh, I couldn't remember the Scorsese movie. Where they were the priests and the.
Oh, Silence.
Oh
Silence.
my
Yeah,
God.
he's
That was
really.
so hard.
It's a hard watch.
So hard
He's been
to
doing
watch.
just great
Yeah.
projects each and every year.
Yeah.
Really killing it.
Also, Ryan is in the live chat, and
I
thank
am.
you all for joining us live. Make sure you hit that like button, leave us a comment after this video is done. We love to keep the conversation going. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, give us those 5 stars and leave us a review there as well. We love those. Those are extra.
Few shout outs, Steph.
Give
we
it
got
to me.
Ivan Soto in the chat here, and each and every week. Thank you so much. The
Hello.
force
Thanks,
is with
Ivan.
you.
Thanks, Ivan.
Greg Moskovich, senior nerd here always, and Manny Gonzalez, big fan of the show, constantly
up,
sending
Manny?
us stuff on social media.
Did
really
he say
excited.
Moskovich or Moskowitz?
Moskovich.
I played him Moskowitz on Dirty Dozen movies, so
Wow.
you and I.
Maybe
From
you're.
one
and I, Craig.
Moskowitz to another.
Well,
There's a
it's
connection.
similar, yeah.
A force connection.
A
if you
force
will.
connection of me and Moskowitz.
But keep commenting, y'all. We're gonna get to the interview a little later, and you can ask your questions, flood us, and how excited you are for episode 9?
Yeah.
So this was really fun. I stumbled upon this article from Entertainment, and it was George Lucas cuts arguably the best Star Wars lightsaber fight out of the prequels. So this was from stunt coordinator Nick Gillard. He helped choreograph the fights throughout the prequel trilogy, which he killed because he has some of the best choreographed fights.
Absolutely.
And he argued that there's a better one than the usual ones that people discuss, and it was Revenge of the Sith fight in which Obi-Wan takes on 6 of General Grievous's bodyguards at the same time. And if you see this GIF that we have, I think you will remember the scene where he is outnumbered, but he ends up
Just pulling the ceiling down. I mean, if you set the scene,
Yes.
he just arrived at Utapau. He does the classic jump, hello there.
set the scene.
And then everyone's like, and he's like, Kenobi, kill him. And all these guards come towards him. And you think, wow, it's about to go down. And he just pulls a part of the ceiling down and kills all the guards instantly. So apparently there was a planned fight there. Just there were so many fights already in the movie.
He trained for weeks for this fight. It was supposed to be epic, and they were running short on time for the film. So since it wasn't necessary to move the plot forward, which some of the lightsaber fights are.
Right.
They decided to cut it with the piece of the ceiling, which actually was an epic scene as well. But it would have been cool to see what they were thinking.
Can I just? I have a comment on this.
Yeah.
I'm watching this. Well, in the first place, it would have just been Obi-Wan
Versus-
Yes.
but they're
Yeah.
all fake, right? They're all computer generated.
As far as we know, I
So
don't know if they
it's
actually
not really
had-
a lightsaber like Darth Maul and
It's not really a lightsaber on a lightsaber,
right?
but
You know
it's
what I mean?
still
So
a fight.
It's a saber
respectful-
battle.
It's one guy jumping around with shadows.
Oh, I
Hot
wonder-
take, Daniel.
That's a hot take. I wonder if the guards were motion captured
Well, they
or not.
could have been motion captured, but then I'm just saying, and
Right.
like,
Oh, no, absolutely.
And let me just do a pitch for a little thing I'm involved in called, you may have heard of it, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. You could create the greatest lightsaber battle in the history of Star Wars yourself.
Whoa.
You don't need George Lucas. You
just
don't
need
need
a
the stunt
controller.
coordinator. You don't need Obi-Wan Kenobi. All you need is you and your talent.
What
and
a
you
pitch.
could create the
That's our mind blown.
What a pitch.
What a pitch. You just
Yeah.
need a controller and a console.
Yeah.
So, Daniel,
And the
since you
game.
have
And the
such
game.
hot takes, I do want to take us to this Washington Post article, which was such an epic article, so well done by their graphics team.
Oh, yeah, that looked
and,
great.
Yeah, they rated the 5 best lightsaber fights, and they started with number 5, Darth Vader's hallway rage. This was in Rogue One.
Oh my gosh. The
This
moment
was-
where we all just lost our minds in the theater.
Yeah,
when
that-
it gets dark and you just see his blade ignite.
And he just took them out. I'll
Rex
go through
Shop.
them. I'll go through them and then let me know what you two think is your
No,
favorite.
I like
Number
that movie.
4, Yoda versus Palpatine. This was in Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Another epic battle. This is where we really get to see Yoda do what Yoda does best. And they were they were head to head.
Two masters. going
Number
at it.
3, Obi-Wan versus Anakin. This one was insane. Obviously led to Darth Vader. This was Episode 3 as well. And number 2, Luke versus Vader. Return of the Jedi.
Return of the Jedi, because he fights him twice.
Yes,
This was
the first
second
one was
time.
not good. And then at number 1, which I have to agree, is Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. This was Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yes, the end of that movie, which a lot of people fast forward to, but it's such great choreography. It was the first time we'd all seen that type of fight in a Star Wars movie where
and it was 3 humans fighting.
that's right, three
Yeah.
human
3 actual actors had to do that.
Yes.
So you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It's like when Yoda's lightsaber fighting, it's not the same as these guys flipping around and stuntmen turning around.
So is this your favorite?
I like that one, yeah. But I like that the Rogue. I'm a big Rogue One fan.
Nice.
That's probably I hate to say my favorite.
No.
That's not an unpopular opinion. A lot of people
I love Rogue
Because
One.
it's taking the new graphics with kind of the old way of storytelling.
yeah,
And that was just such a perfect moment. I mean, again, that's one of the best moments in all of Star Wars when you see Darth Vader, just nowadays technology, Darth Vader, and just going at it like prime. Wow, just
They
savagery.
didn't stand a chance.
So by the way, 2 nights ago, Tammy and I, we go to look at Christmas decorations. You know, get a little hot coffee, look at cocoa.
Yeah.
Driving around Burbank, and I see multiple Darth Vader blow-ups holding candy canes. But the funniest one is he's holding the Death Star, and it's wrapped. It's like a little Death
Present.
Star. Now I want to say this is a Christmas decoration.
Yeah.
And it's the most feared character in perhaps all
Cinema?
And he's like Hitler, and he's holding a Death Star.
Yeah.
And it's wrapped.
Merry
like, who's he
Christmas.
giving that to? Merry Christmas. Like, let's go destroy a galaxy. Let's
give it to you.
What,
Yeah.
what is that?
Let's just do genocide.
No, this is it's. I say things to make people laugh and scratch their head, but I mean it's it's like Hitler handing the Nuremberg rally site to people, like it's horrible.
Are we glorifying it?
Maybe a little.
Maybe. Mark Ellis, who used to be at AfterBuzz, he has a really funny stand-up, and he kind of questioned the idea of how easy they just took out complete planets,
Right.
and an entire existence, and in
Goodbye.
Star Wars, and you don't really question it because you just let the movie be, but then you stop and think like,
Yeah, they're all gone.
yeah.
Everyone died. on
Yeah,
that.
everyone died, and then they gave us Rogue One, and you were like, oh no, they were people.
There were
And
a
they're
ton of
gone.
people.
Yeah. By the way, and some of their own people that they blew
Oh
up
yeah,
with.
loads of their own people.
So anyway, I just think it's funny that in 1977, when Darth Vader appeared on the screen the very first time, every single human being in the theater went,
Yeah.
and now I could put him on
your
my
tree?
mantle
on your lawn.
because there's a Darth Vader stocking.
I've been rewatching the movies, and I'm actually working on a piece about Darth Vader because I used to
Nice.
think he was the best villain of all time.
Ooh.
But
But then he hated sand.
When you rewatch it, you're like, Palpatine was your daddy. Like, legit,
He was Palpatine's.
Yes. Like,
Yeah.
So I'll write that.
The
I'll
man
let you
behind the
guys
curtain.
know. But Daniel, I want to focus on you.
Let's get into Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah. How did you get signed on to that? What was the experience like?
The experience was as close to perfect as anything I've ever done.
Wow.
How I got in it is crazy, and Cameron Monaghan told a similar story. I didn't know I was auditioning for Star Wars. I thought I was auditioning for a video game because it had a fake name. You know, they use these cover stories,
right?
You know, just like Blue Harvest, right?
Yeah,
so they still do it. Yeah. How's that for a?
That was a great reference. I got it.
So I was auditioning for a game called Rowboat, and I think that's in the vernacular, so we could say it. And I auditioned, and I read, and I was talking about the Templar Knights, you Templar Knights, and Tom Keegan, the fantastic performance director, many directors on the video game.
Right.
Tom was the motion capture director. He goes, Danny, don't say Jedi Knights this time. Don't say Templar Knights. Excuse me, I said the joke wrong. He said, say Jedi Knights.
And you were like,
and I was like, I'm gonna because and it's probably smart. Now you can appreciate this. If I knew if they were like, in 3 days you're auditioning for Star Wars, you'd be like,
your voice would just go.
Yeah, I'd lose it.
Yeah, you'd lose it because it would be too important. So it was great that they did it that way, and I didn't know that the character at all until I went to the initial read-through. I didn't know he was 4 foot tall. I didn't know he had 4 arms. I thought he was like this pilot and a little cranky, and so I was doing Ernie Borgnine. All great actors steal from great actors.
Yeah.
Right.
I just said I was great. How about this?
You did.
All smart actors. All smart actors steal from great actors. All smart actors.
I said I was great.
I was just doing. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just commenting that I said it.
Yeah.
But crazy, crazy, and then shooting it was great. Cameron Monaghan is a amazing, great actor. Deborah Wilson.
Were you in this?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Right. I was going to ask. So you're in within these scenes where you're interacting with them?
Yeah. So it's
you're
full.
All together.
It's full motion performance capture. So I do. It's funny, like how when someone says voiceover, it's like, no, it wasn't voiceover. We acted it out. I'm on a set that looks like a big open. It doesn't look like a spaceship. It's a big open room. But I am Greez, and when you watch Greez, you watch the way he moves and turns and everything, and it's all me and it's all Cameron, and it's all Deborah and Elizabeth Goulian, I think I'm saying her name right, and Tina. She was the second sister, and Tina's Marin. We would all be like there. We were sitting on the set doing that scene. And if you watch this scene in the game, did you?
Oh my God! I was going to comment. Look, first off, I just beat the game last night.
He beat it. Ryan beat the game.
It was almost a binge playing of the game.
Yeah.
Way to go, Ryan!
And what's so surprising? And first of all, the game is amazing. It's probably the best Star Wars game since like the original Xbox Battlefront or like the Force Unleashed games.
People can't get enough of it.
It really can't. And I mean, it just has something that the more recent games haven't had, which is just an awesome campaign that is its own story, and it's really owning its story. And I was so amazed by how much meat you got to chew as an actor. They really give you scenes like that. In that scene that Jeff just had up, there's a scene where you wake up Cal, and you just basically
apologize for something.
You
bad
apologize,
I did,
and he opens his heart, saying like, "You and Sierra are you're my family now. Like you mean everything to me." It's a deep scene,
and it's and so the way you get a great performance in a scene like that is you get a great actor like Cameron Monaghan and a mediocre actor like me, and you put him next to Cameron Monaghan, and you think Cameron will help him. Cameron will help him. But it's all done. It's not done in a studio, a vocal studio. It's done on a set, sitting next to each other. And so the fun of it was that they're regular sized people, and
you're a little smaller.
I was about to ask about that.
Right. So what we had to do was I spent a lot of time looking over their heads. So I would say, wait a minute, you're gonna tell me, and I look above their head, and they looked at. I had 2 eyeballs drawn on my belly.
Were you sitting?
So they were. No, I was always standing because when you see Greez, he's moving.
Oh, got
so
it.
he's got to move.
Got it.
He's got to move through the scene. And initially, I was like, you know, he's small.
Right.
And then I was very unhappy with the first day of rehearsal, and I went home and I was thinking about it. And the director called me, and this is always this is the moment where they could fire you.
Yeah.
We're going with a real short person because you blew it. But don't shade me on that. Don't shade me on that.
Right.
But, through the whole process, I thought they could bring in Joe Pesci to, overdub me at the end. So thank God they didn't. Then I realized, speaking of Joe, like he was Joe Pesci. Joe Pesci is he's a tiny human being. He's very short. I've been with him.
Wow.
And he's tiny. He's really little.
Yeah. How small is he?
But his ego
Please.
His ego is not little. And so the point is, let's go on record. He's a great actor. So I'll say that, all jokes aside. So I realized he's the biggest guy in the room to him.
Yes.
Right? So, Greez, I realized was, he doesn't see himself as small. He's, as for what we know, he might be extremely tall for a Latiron. I'm the first one.
Yeah.
So who would know?
I'm curious about that because you spoke about how as actors you take the lines and you take the character that was given to you.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a process to getting into the proper character. How do you do that? Is it just time with it?
It's time with it, and this was I had something that was respectfully a little harder than it was for the other many of the other actors in the game, because I was playing what would be a cartoon, right? I wasn't playing what would be a human. Mm-hmm. I was playing what would always be and can only be a cartoon because we don't have aliens on this planet to, see how they
compare
react.
to.
Yeah.
So while we were shooting, I often was maybe pushing a little. I with my face, and we talked about it because I had to not only think about how that character would express himself, but how would the actual physical manifestation in the cartoon seem the most legitimate. Mm-hmm. So there might be a slower head turn, and like I'd overacted a little because I was like, if you were wearing prosthetic makeup, you act through the makeup anyway.
Acting through the digital makeup.
Acting through the digital makeup and having we had great animators who finessed it all at the end.
Well, so I had a few questions just about Greez in general because, like I said, there's some real scenes and you get some real background on this character. Throughout the game, they're referencing Greez's, I think, habit of gambling.
Yeah.
So does Greez have a gambling issue?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. But, it turns out a long time ago at a galaxy far, far away, they hadn't yet established Gambling Anonymous. So he's got this
You had no
problem.
access to help.
No access to help.
Could he beat Han Orlando in a game?
Oh, sure he could.
Whoa.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Give me a break.
Well,
It's a real gambler.
How about in a pilot race? Could he take the Falcon?
Yeah, sure, of course. Why not? He's Greez Dritus. Hey, he could do anything he wanted to do. I mean,
Love it.
He's the guy.
I need Greez's confidence at
Yeah,
all
no,
times.
you should have Greez's confidence.
Yeah.
You're a lovely person, and you ask great questions, and you were smart enough to put me on this show. But no, everybody
You're
should
not
have.
wrong, Daniel.
Yeah.
Not wrong at
Everybody
all.
should have Greez's confidence. And if everybody got up tomorrow and had Greez's confidence to confidently be nice to everyone else, not just at Christmas time, not just a week before Star Wars, but just in general.
A week before Star Wars and all was kind. Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah.
What was your was there a standout moment behind the scenes when you were taking these cuts?
Well, I'll tell you that I got a few ad libs in.
Did you?
I did. Oh, yes.
Oh, please, pray tell.
Yes. Well, I think when I say greasy money, baby, I think that's an ad lib. Now, someone might say it's not. I think it is, and I think it is because Deborah in the cutscene actually speaks over top of it. So I think that I was like greasy money. But you do the ad lib, and then you'd look over to the side where the Star Wars guys were, and they'd be like,
You need that on a shirt.
yeah. Or they'd be like,
We have a ton of praise for you in the chat right
that's
now.
so
Just
nice.
saying you're a marvelous Greez. Congratulations. Thank you for sharing these experiences. A lot of people were curious about just how they introduced the plot to you and if you had to keep anything secret.
oh, yeah, I had to keep the whole thing secret for a year. I knew last year that I was playing Greez, and we didn't start a read-through until January. So I knew in about November, I think, or December. And now it's December now. So, and they just told me I was allowed to say I was even in it 2 or 3 months ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so we kept it all. So it's a great question. I got all the plot when we had the first read through, and that's how I learned what the story was really about.
It's so fascinating. And I mean, and the story is great. Taking place 5 years after Revenge of the Sith. Really fascinating. Just a Jedi who evaded Order 66 and has been kind of living amongst some wreckage builders. Really interesting story, especially about the Jedi, and you get all this great lore. A lot of people are just asking you a bunch of Star Wars questions in the chat.
Can I answer any?
You absolutely can. People want to know if you prefer Empire
pick
Strikes-
two, so
Pick two?
we can, because we have unfortunately are out of time.
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
time.
No,
Okay.
don't apologize. I want to hear your answers.
I'll fly through them.
Get it.
First one: Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi.
Empire Strikes Back.
Nice. Sorry, a bunch of people are just like, oh, isn't there a joke about? Sorry, I just dropped it. I just dropped the question.
Favorite all time.
Favorite all time.
Is it Rogue One? Is that
Rogue One, I hate to say, is my favorite movie. My favorite movie after the first three because they put the handrails back in the movie, which they took out in the last three movies. But they put the handrails in the movie because it had to look like the first Star Wars movies. Why are there handrails in the first Star Wars movies, people? So David Prowse and Sir Alec Guinness didn't fall down the steps, right?
Yeah.
So there's handrails. Why now, like in the new movies, is there a half-mile long walkway in the middle of the new Death Star with no handrails?
Just proud of me.
Nobody would no one would even let them build that.
Entourage.
I just found it. It was your favorite character in the saga.
My favorite character in the entire saga, I like Yoda a lot. I've always liked Yoda
my
since
favorite.
since they introduced him. Like him a lot. But you know what I like? I love that first movie. People may not remember, like as a kid growing up loving horror movies, I loved Peter Cushing and the genius of putting Peter Cushing in Star Wars. And then you got to hand it to Mr. Lucas. He put Chris Lee in. So that's
Right.
Dr. Frankenstein and Frankenstein.
Grand Moff Tarkin,
yes.
Count Dooku, awesome.
Yeah, two
legendary actors.
And
Yeah.
going after the real legendary actors. So you guys may not understand it, but Alec Guinness and Peter Cushing were really the thing that gave legitimacy to Star Wars initially. Because other than that, it could have
we
been,
wouldn't have known the context of
yeah,
that.
and it would have been considered a kids movie. But when you put a guy like Alec Guinness, a multi-Academy Award-winning amazing actor in the movie, then there's a gravitas to Obi-Wan that you take seriously.
Yeah. I mean, that is, in a sense, kind of what Adam Driver is doing now
That is what
in
he's
a lot
doing.
of ways. Unfortunately, we have to wrap. But
I'm sorry,
Daniel,
thank you.
thank you so much for joining us.
I
And can
had
you-
a great time.
Can you let us know where we can find you when we're done with the show, and if you're working on anything we can look forward to?
Thank you. Yes, please go to Mr. Daniel Roebuck on social media, and I'm Daniel Roebuck on Facebook. And people, please go to this new thing we're doing. Go to achannelofpeace.org, achannelofpeace.org, and you can learn about how I'm making movies now. And you can help me make them, which I could use your help. I love being in Star Wars. I love being in Rob Zombie movies, but I'm trying to make faith-filled family entertainment that everybody can watch, no shading.
Amazing.
Tremendous.
Ryan, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me at Ryan Nilsen, Nilsen, on Twitter, and at Ryan Nilsen _ on Instagram. And every week, 4 p.m., Popcorn Talk, Star Wars News, and tomorrow, Mandalorian After Show around noon. On AfterBuzz Sister
Pacific.
Channel, Noon Pacific Channel.
Yes.
And you, Steph Sabraw, Chewbacca's daughter. Where can we find you?
I'm Steph Sabraw. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Steph Sabraw, Sabraw. May the Force be with you all. We will see you next week.
Get Fallen Order.
Yes.
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.